gathering that happens for the first time, and our computer science alumni living in the Americas and their natural friends that are among us. Words cannot describe the emotions that I'm currently feeling among dear alumni, in the presence of distinguished guests and friends, and at the place where I graduated from. We cannot open this ceremony in a better way than what is planned. The first word goes to the Associate Provost at MIT, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of AUB, Professor Philip Khoury, who himself is a graduate of Harvard also. And this is where we have met, I think, for the first time. He is, of course, a very eloquent speaker. Despite his very tight schedule, he wanted to be with us at this special occasion. Professor Khoury, the word is yours.
I'm the most low-tech person in the room, to be certain. I'm just a historian. Ladia Jaredini and I go way back, and we've maintained a tight and dear friendship over 40 years. In fact, he and Fawaz Hamdal, who is the Executive Dean for Education and Research here at Harvard, who's helping to host us, were students with me, or I was students with them, I should say, all in the 1970s. We had a great time together, and I'm meeting other students who were here in that generation whom I didn't know, but who are all AUBites, and that's what matters most. So, it is a great pleasure and privilege for me to introduce this first ever gathering of AUB computer scientists in North America, from North America, based in North America. You're all AUB. We love that. You're all alumni. I should say that these two gentlemen, Wadi and Fawaz, have made a lot of difference to how we think about the world you're in, and trying to bring together folks who care about computer science and who care about the university. They're both graduates, and they love their alma mater, their AUB alma mater. They may love Harvard too, for all I know. I want to thank the truly amazing New England chapter of the YAUB, of the Worldwide Association of Alumni of AUB. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for them today. They are a marvelous chapter. They adore their alma mater, and they've worked for generations, really, long before there was a YAUB, in fact, to sponsor and promote the interests of AUB in New England. We owe them so much. I don't know where we would be without our alumni volunteers, frankly. I don't know where AUB would be. Wadia made it clear the reason I'm here is not because I have any privileged knowledge about computer science. I don't. Mine is all, tertiary and even beyond the tertiary. But I'm here because I chair the Board of Trustees of AUB. And let me make an apology from the beginning. I can't stay for these meetings because I'm actually flying today to Beirut for AUB board meetings and to participate in opening day when all the students gather in Assembly Hall and open up the new academic year at the university. So I apologize for that. So let me just say that while the board is confident, the Board of Trustees is confident that AUB is the leading institution of higher learning in the Arab world, we're confident. We also know we have mounting competition from a few up-and-coming regional universities. Competition is a healthy thing. It's actually a good thing. If the Arab world were to free itself from the quagmire it has lived in for decades, it will require many, many AUBs to liberate itself from that quagmire. But for the Board of Trustees, we have even greater ambitions for AUB. We believe AUB can become a truly world-class research university, among the world leaders. We could not possibly entertain such aspirations if we didn't have an outstanding university leadership led by Dr. Fadl Khoury, our president, his leadership team. We couldn't do it if it weren't for the high-quality faculty we have, who are only getting better, and who will get yet better now that we have voted in the reinstatement of tenure, and we will begin to implement tenure for the faculty this very year. And I'm sure you'll hear more about that. So this is a big step for this university with the aim of becoming a truly world-class research university. We'll be strengthened by that. Of course, we require outstanding students. We get outstanding undergraduate students and increasingly outstanding graduate students, but we really have to double down on building up our graduate programs if we have any hope of becoming a great research university. And to achieve all we want to achieve, we need to continue to receive even greater support than we already do, and it's generous, from our alumni. We need to figure out how to get governments and industry and the large private foundations to sponsor research, because the research arm, the research machine, needs to be well-oiled if we're going to really advance ourselves. And that is on our agenda, and we've begun to make inroads, believe it or not, there. And we're going against the grain. Now, let me assure you that the Board of Trustees of AUB is neither naive nor are we dreamers, okay? There's some pretty hard-nosed folks on this board who have achieved an enormous amount of talent in their own careers and who are very generous. We know all too well that the widespread warfare and instability across the Middle East and the absence of basic freedoms and rights in many countries work against our ambitions. But so far, we have not let those truly horrible conditions stand in the way of AUB. It's amazing. We're running against the grain, at least for the moment. I say so far. When I think of what research and teaching fields contribute most to the makeup of world-class research universities these days, I immediately think of 4 fields. You can't have a top-ranked research university without outstanding life sciences, without outstanding economics, without outstanding mathematics, and I would argue, above all, without outstanding computer science. Harvard, where we are today, and MIT, where I earn my humble living, where you will be this evening, have all these ingredients and more. And so do Stanford, Princeton, UCal, Berkeley, Cambridge, and Oxford, and others. They also have outstanding liberal arts programs, which are absolutely a requirement for a world-class, top-ranked research university. And in many ways, computer science is the field that provides the most important glue these days that tie these other fields or areas of learning together. You can see it in practically everything that relates to the world of the life sciences, bioengineering and medicine, economics and business, and increasingly in many other fields, including in the liberal arts, my own home base. It is at the intersection of these fields that the most interesting breakthrough research and knowledge is being produced, and computer science is the, or a, major linchpin. AUB already has many of the ingredients that can help it become a world-class research university, and computer science is certainly one of them. I know AUB is keen on promoting computer science and sees it as a strategic academic program, one that must become yet stronger if we're going to become world-class. Okay, now for a little history, and I owe much of this to my dear friend Wadia Shariddin. In 1986-87, some of you here may remember this, AUB introduced a very creative BS program in computer science within the Department of Mathematics. This degree program came as a bright sign of resilience for AUB and its community, defying all the odds given the devastating conditions of life in Lebanon at the time. Wadia thinks it must have been the instinct for academic survival that led computer science through these very harsh years of civil war and foreign invasions, principally by Israel and Syria. That instinct for survival could be found all over AUB in those 20 years, characterized by one of the worst civil wars of the post-World War II era anywhere, and followed by the invasions and occupations I referenced. Our own president, Malcolm Kerr, was assassinated on campus in 1984, in January, The same Malcolm Kerr who had personally confronted an Israeli contingent at the medical gate to prevent them from entering to the AUB. Meanwhile, the computer science program miraculously survived and witnessed substantial growth that led to the establishment of an MS degree in 1998. In 2003, at the age of 17, the CS program had grown enough to establish a house of its own near the Department of Mathematics, but its own house, both housed, as they are today, in Bliss Hall. Did computer science at AUB start in a vacuum? Definitely not. Wadia reminds me and us that the computing at AUB and in the Department of Mathematics can be traced back to the late 1950s when the university catalog listed a course on discrete methods for solving differential equations. In 62 and 63, a programming course in Fortran was introduced. By 1984, the Department of Mathematics was offering 8 courses in computer science. So the introduction of the computer science program came as a natural next step. It did not come out of the void. In fact, even before the BS degree in computer science was created, an Institute for Computer Studies emerged 3 years earlier with the intention of gathering the computing resources at AUB into one academic unit that aimed to become a school of its own. Well, the intensifying war following President Kerr's assassination prevented that from happening, from really developing. Instead, the Board of Trustees decided to establish a BS in computer science within mathematics and a BE in computer and communication engineering, a CCE that is, within the Department of Electrical Engineering, and in the faculty, of course, of engineering and architecture. To date, there are about 1,700 graduates of the computer science program. That's non-trivial. And a distinguished cohort of you are with us today representing really the very best of AUB. And I'm just so proud of you and so proud of AUB that you're here in support of our institution and wanting to, of course, talk with one another and learn from one another. Okay, let me conclude by offering very brief thoughts on a possible future direction for AUB computer science. The AUB faculty and administration ultimately are responsible for charting the future and then convincing the Board of Trustees of the best way forward. So my thoughts are just that. Nothing more, nothing conclusive. I come from an institution, MIT, that is quite centralized in its organization. At MIT, computer science is mainly found in the School of Engineering, and it's enormous, but there is a significant group also in the Department of Mathematics, which has a large group of applied mathematicians in which computer science takes place among them. Cooperation between the two main academic units located in these two schools have improved and strengthened over the years. They're coordinating more and more what they do. They are making a real positive difference to the future of computer science at MIT, and that matters. It matters to MIT, and I believe it probably matters to the world. Whatever develops at AUB, I think our greatest success will occur when there is truly positive cooperation between the main academic units that are involved in computer science in its broadest definition, not in its narrowest, in its broadest definition. I'm thinking of the department that involves computer science in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, of course, the Department of Computer Science, and I'm thinking of that Department of Computer Engineering in the Saman Faculty of Engineering and Architecture. Those are the two principal players. Maybe the idea of an institute or center for computer studies like the one discussed back in the 1980s and that enjoyed a very short life can be resurrected with the aim of serving both computer science and computer engineering highest interests. Perhaps that institute can become the vehicle for strengthening the influence and impact of computer science across AUB, in medicine, nursing, and in public health, in agriculture and food sciences, in the business school, the OAN School of Business, and of course across the Faculty of Arts and Sciences and the Saman Faculty for Engineering and Architecture. I think our global competitive strength and reputation in computer science will benefit greatly if this were to happen. I said, I think. Wouldn't that be an achievement? Yeah, I think it would. One thing is for certain, the influence of computer science at AUB is only growing and will continue well into the foreseeable future. It's hard to think of any other field of learning that today is more influential than computer science, perhaps along with the life sciences. And that influence is likely to continue for a long time to come. My bet is that you will see the real influence of computer science in the workshops that follow on machine learning, scientific computing, and big data analytics. As I said, my regret is I can't be here for all the sessions, so I wish you great success in your deliberations. I also hope you have some fun. Certainly you'll have fun down at MIT. Sorry, Boaz, I had to say that. So let me now introduce, if I may, may I introduce Boaz? Or do you want to do it? You come do it. Okay, Boaz Habab, dear friend for many years, colleague. He is the Dean, Executive Dean for Education and Research at the Paulson School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. You may have heard of this Mr. Paulson, who gave Boaz and his colleagues $400 million last year or 2 years ago. An enormous, he wasn't a graduate of engineering, he was a Harvard Business School graduate, but he thought engineering has to develop at Harvard in a big way, and he's helping Harvard. I wish you'd given it to us, Boaz, but you know how it is, it's Harvard. So, would you come on up? A wonderful scholar, teacher, administrator.
I don't have a lot to say after hearing all this history and from Wadia and Philippe, and I want to thank you all for coming here. I want to thank Wadia and Philippe, of course, for introducing and taking the time to be here. Wadia was really instrumental and very important person in creating this gathering. So everything works well goes to him. Things that don't work well, it's my fault. So I'm a graduate of AUB. I came here in the United States in the 80s, early 80s. We went together, and here we go. Went to industry for a few years, 17. And then I did some startup. I did something very silly called camera and the phone. We wanted to sponsor me at that time, but somehow now it became a fad, I guess. So anyway, came back to Harvard at a time where the school here was not a school. We were a division of engineering and applied sciences. And 2007 was a very instrumental year for us. We became a school. We were the youngest school. We were number, I guess, 15 out of 14 schools in Harvard. All along we had our independence. We had a close to $1 billion endowment, so we were doing okay. The new endowment that came in together now we close to $1.5 billion endowment for engineering and applied sciences. So in principle we were doing very well. In reality we were really in deficit, believe it or not. And partly because of the number of students has changed dramatically. We started with a very small number of students, thank you. We were close to 200 students, and now we are approaching about 1,000 undergraduates. We are 20% of the college right now. The admission at Harvard goes all to the college, nothing goes to engineering or any school in the department. And the interesting thing about the school here, where really was my attraction to the school to start with, is we don't have departments. Someone asked me when I mentioned this, how come you can operate without a department? It's not easy, but it works. So we are one happy group. We work together, we live together. Professor Anderson can tell you that we've seen reviews of all kind of admissions for different areas of engineering. We have 7 areas of engineering, applied and applied sciences. We have applied physics, applied math, computer science, these are the applied sciences. And then we have 4 engineering, and we give degrees in all of those, undergraduate and graduate degrees. These are mechanical, electrical, bioengineering, and environmental science. So it's an interesting setup here. And again, we met with Wadia some time ago, and it was a really great time. So I want to go back and really to the activity here, and it's great fun to see colleagues, friends who came from all ways. Some of them came from India, from Canada, from from even New York. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy to hear some people came from there on a Memorial Day. It's not that easy. Labor Day is not that easy for us, but we had a good time. I hope we can all have a good time here. The program here is meant for mainly for discussion and asking questions and quizzes. The most important thing is you guys. And this gathering is for networking, and I hope we can do it maybe hopefully once a year, hopefully. And this is a good precedent. It's a good precedent to see so many of you interested, and I'm really very happy to see you here. So thank you for coming, and look forward to more discussion with all of you.
All right, I want to conclude this opening session by taking a few minutes of your time. I want basically to emphasize some of the points that have been said before. But before doing so, I would like to recognize Professor Nabil Nassif. Okay. When we said that in 1984, the department was already offering 8 courses in computer science, I think Nabil takes, is attributed to the efforts of Nabil and some of our colleagues at the time. And I would like to thank Professor Donald Anderson for being with us, of course. Dr. Anderson was our mentor when we were students here, and I really appreciate that you are with us today. All right, so nowadays, algorithmic thinking and algorithms, which is what computer science is about, are invading all disciplines. Engineering, medicine, finance, and more lately, and more so in social sciences, arts, education, natural languages, etc. The manifestations of the invasion are leading to fascinating developments that are affecting our daily lives and behaviors in unprecedented ways. Just look around you, from the very simple applications that we daily use and how they are becoming smarter as we do, to driverless cars and vehicles that are coming along, to automated medical doctors and lawyers, as in the Watson project at IBM and the like, to 3D printers that are dramatically changing how we build houses, for example. And you wonder, civil engineers, what's going to happen to them? They have to change their... How we do dentistry these days, to the advances in computerizing the educational process, to the Internet of Things, and the list grows and grows on a daily basis. It makes us wonder what will be left for human beings to do. We should not be scared, as this is not the first time humanity goes through such fundamental changes. Not long ago, 3 centuries ago, more than 70% of societies worked in agriculture. With the advent of the Industrial Revolution, dramatic changes took place. Now in the USA, they say, only 5% or less of the population works in agriculture, to produce much more than what was produced then. Something similar is happening now. With the information technology revolution, there is a dramatic transformation going on in society, and a lot of the tasks that humans have been doing, whether mental or physical, are being replaced by intelligent machines and devices. All routine and systematic tasks, algorithmic tasks, will be replaced, thanks to algorithms and algorithmic thinking. With all these developments, the body of computing knowledge is expanding and will continue to expand for years and centuries to come. To cope with this growth, there is a growing trend at many universities to establish institutes, schools, or colleges of computing, at the heart of which is computer science. A nearby example of that is the Hariri Institute of Computing at Boston University, who are partners with us really in preparing this event. Workshop 3 is mainly designed by people from that institute. And I take this as an opportunity to say also that, unfortunately, Professor Azar Stavros will not be with us today as planned. He was subjected to an operation, and we really wish him the best to recover as quick as possible. Our dear friend Asaf Khoury from Boston University will be replacing Dr. Azar. The challenges facing us at the Department of Computer Science and at AUB are grand. One of the channels of support that we envisage is the network of alumni that we are building with you, especially those of you who are directly active in the making of these developments, here in the Americas and in other places. We also hope that you will find interest in nurturing this network for your benefit and in more than one way, and for the benefit of your alma mater. Let us solidify our chapter and enhance its relation with the Department of with the Computer Science at AUB, a win-win relation in ways yet to be determined and developed. We should also strengthen our presence and synchronize with friendly bodies who share some of our objectives, like LabNet in the USA and the Lebanese Canadian Tech Hub in Canada, the IT professional networks who have co-sponsored our event today. Thanks are due to them. We also thank, in a different way and from a different point of view, Access and the Arab American National Museum for co-sponsoring our event as well. The grassroots community activities are providing fundamental support to the Arab American communities all over the USA. In particular, the Museum for the Arab American National Museum is exposing the bright contributions of Arab Americans in the American society in all aspects of life. And we expect them also to be putting in that museum contributions in technology as well, because there are many. We can attribute Steve Jobs to be American by being his wealth and other coming from Syria. But there are many other contributors to IT in America and of Arab descent. Now a word about the workshops. Once the idea was proposed by Professor Habbal, in fact, determining the broad topics evolved dramatically in 2 to 3 days. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and cloud computing cannot be avoided these days. Numerical computing and computational mathematics is the very first field of study that flourished with the advent of computers back in the mid-1950s. In fact, this is what computers were invented for at the time. So this field is still an important area in computing. It wasn't difficult to get the speakers as well, as many of them were already on board for the event. The workshops are not intended to be research heavy, given the diversity of the audience. They are intended to be more like informative discussion groups where participants and speakers interact on new ideas. We try to have a mixed representation of academia and industry. We also try to be represented as AUB on each of the workshops. This goes for workshops 1, 2, and 3. Workshop 4 is intended to share the experiences of alumni who have followed a variety of career paths. Special emphasis will be on integration of our guests from LabNet and the Lebanese Canadian Tech Hub. So I hope you enjoy the workshops. Last but not least, you are all invited to participate in our reception dinner at Sandberg Conference Center at MIT, where our host is the Lebanese Club at MIT, and we thank them for that as well. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this day, full day of events, and we hope to also organize similar events in the near future. Thank you for coming.